So I wanted to go through these instructions for our essay for the research project, quote unquote, final draft. And final is in quotes because we aren't going to get it to its final polished state. We are going to get it to where you can focus on certain components and certain skills that then I can assess for a targeted assessment as opposed to an assessment of the entire essay. So follow along as I explain the instructions, and then I'll also provide an example of what you want to turn in. So these are the key things you want to make sure your paper does. You want to make sure you're adding unique insights to the conversation. A research paper is not just about saying what the sources tell you. It's saying, this is what the sources said, and this is what I'm adding to that. You want to focus on a specific group of people in a specific location. This is so important because you don't have room in this relatively short paper to talk about this problem and solution for a broad group of people and a location that crosses borders. So this problem might exist in the world, this problem might exist in this country, but we need to see what this problem looks like in a specific place, because where people live shapes the problem. Where people live determines what problem is going to succeed because of what people in that location have access to. What's also important is that you're not committing plagiarism. Any ideas that are not common fact need to be cited with MLA citations. So there's a list at the end of these instructions, as well as a rubric that shows you what's going to be assessed and what you need to include. Before we get to that, this can help you prepare. You want to use the feedback you were provided from your peers, but you need to be careful how you implement peer feedback. You want to implement feedback I provided you. And again, use the rubric to help you make targeted revisions and targeted edits and proofreading of your paper. So this is what you want to submit with your final draft. You want to have an introductory paragraph, and you want to end it with a focused arguable thesis statement. The thesis statement will be assessed. The hook in the middle sentences need to be there, but I'm not going to judge the quality of them. You want to make sure you have all the required components. There should be at least one body paragraph of background, one body paragraph of context, one body paragraph with an opposing view and counterpoint, and several support paragraphs. Okay, so I paused the video because I wanted to add clarification that your background and context need to be in body paragraphs. I noticed that in some drafts, students were trying to squeeze all of that in the introductory paragraph. Background and context can go in an introductory paragraph for a short essay. But when we have a long research paper, there's not enough room in the introductory paragraph to squeeze enough background and context in there. So keep that in mind. These should be body paragraphs. So make sure you have body paragraphs that do these things. You should have a concluding paragraph, and it should not begin with in conclusion or in summary or any other ineffective statement. Make that first sentence matter. Now, convention says the first sentence of your concluding paragraph should be a reaffirmation of the thesis statement. So make sure your concluding paragraph does that. I'm going to assess that you have a concluding paragraph and assess whether or not it has these statements in there. You lose points if you use these statements. All right. You get your points if you reaffirm your thesis statement. Do not start a new main point in the concluding paragraph. You want to have a works cited page, and it should only contain the sources that actually appear in your final draft. Do not use your annotated bibliography as your works cited page. You can take your annotated bibliography and take out all the annotations, take out any sources you didn't use, so you're not starting from scratch. Only 2 of the citations in your works cited page will be assessed for accuracy. So make sure you have at least 2 that you know are proper MLA format. You want to have a note at the top of your draft that tells me some things. Use 2 to 3 sentences that explain what you would change if you had more time to work on this essay. You want to point out 2 paragraphs that demonstrate your ability to synthesize sources, 2 paragraphs that demonstrate your meal paragraph skills, 2 paragraphs that best demonstrate your MLA and insight text citation skills. And you can have just 2 paragraphs that demonstrate all these things. So these don't have to be 2 separate paragraphs. So you can have 2 paragraphs that show synthesis. Those paragraphs can also show meal paragraphing skills. Those 2 paragraphs can also show MLA and text citation skills. It's up to you. You need to have at least 1 paragraph that shows me you can use formal academic language skills. So that is third person. Do not have contractions. Do not use figures of speech or idioms. Concrete, concise language. Go back to our academic don'ts grammar bite to figure out what formal academic language is. Then again, point out what 2 citations in your works cited list you feel are accurate and that you want me to assess. So I highly recommend you use the rubric as a checklist. So go through the rubric, and I don't know if it looks like this for you, but this is how it looks on my end. You want to have a note that tells me what the things that you want me to focus on when I grade the paper. That is worth 5 points. You want to have an introductory paragraph with a hook and middle sentences. I'm not assessing the quality. I'm giving you a point for each one that is there, but I'm not assessing the quality of them. Your thesis statement is incredibly important, so it's worth 20 points all by itself, and it should do these things. You want to have a body paragraph that gives background. Having that gets you a point. You want a body paragraph that gives context. Just having that in there gets you a point. You want to have several paragraphs that support your overall argument. That's worth 5 points. You want to have body paragraphs that give opposition and counterpoint. That should be at least 1 paragraph that provides both. It could be 2 paragraphs. Having those gets you points. Again, I'm not focusing on the quality of these body paragraphs, but I am giving you points for having them in there. Now, showing meal paragraph structure is important. So you should have 2 paragraphs that demonstrate those skills. That is worth 20 points. There should be 2 paragraphs that demonstrate synthesis skills. That is worth 20 points. You should have 2 paragraphs that demonstrate your ability to use MLA and text citations properly. That is worth 20 points. This is where a lot of points are coming from. Now, again, it might be 2 paragraphs that demonstrate all these abilities, and that's fine. You could focus on making sure 2 body paragraphs do all of these things. But you might also decide, I want to use, separate paragraphs to demonstrate meal structure. I want to use a different paragraph to demonstrate synthesis. I want to use other paragraphs to demonstrate MLA and text citations. That is up to you how you do that. You just need to tell me which ones to look at. You want to make sure you have all the required sources. So this just repeats what's in the instructions. You need to have at least 7 sources. At least 2 of them need to be scholarly. And then you want to have a concluding paragraph. It's only worth 2 points, but you will lose a point if you use in conclusion, in summary, or something else that really adds no value. Make sure that concluding paragraph reaffirms your thesis statement and avoids using those phrases, and you should get your 2 points, no problem. The works cited list, again, it can't be the annotated bibliography. And your 10 points will be based on 2 accurate MLA citations. And then we want to follow MLA format. It should be double spaced. It should be 1-inch margins. All those things have a unique title, but it is only worth 2 points. As far as grammar, punctuation, and spelling, it's worth 10 points, but only 1 paragraph has to show, your perfect grammar, punctuation, and spelling, and it needs to be academic formal language. And then I will want to see that you made changes from the previous draft. If you submit your revised draft as this final draft, you will lose a lot of points or it'll be rejected outright. So please don't do that. Take the time to rethink and reflect your ideas. Show your ideas that you care about them by taking time to find ways to continually improve them. So showing that progression of thought that you made efforts to make changes since the last draft is worth 10 points. And so that's how it totals up to 140. So in the next section of this video, I'm going to show you an example of what to turn in. So here's an example of what you'll want to submit. This is the student's draft of their research paper, their final draft, and it begins with a note of all the things I've asked them to point out. So they tell me if they had more time, what they'd want to do. They point out 2 paragraphs that show me their ability to synthesize, 2 paragraphs that demonstrate their meal skills. And notice that they use paragraph 6 and 7 to show synthesis. They use paragraph 6 and 7 to show meal. As far as demonstrating their MLA in-text citations, they want me to look at paragraphs 3 and 4. For their formal academic language skills, they want me to look at their conclusion, and then they want me to grade their first 2 citations. So you can choose whatever combination of paragraphs for me to assess. So, and that helps you kind of save time. So this writer saved a lot of time by making sure paragraph 6 and 7 could demonstrate these 2 skills. They could have used that for the MLA in-text citations as well as their formal academic language, but they decided to use different ones. So this note comes before the actual essay that they have. So they have an introductory paragraph. It ends with an arguable thesis statement that's specific to students in Southern California. And then they include all the required components, and then I can go through and assess the quality of the ones that they pointed out to me in their note. So it is a complete research paper. It goes and fills the page requirement. It's got the works cited page at the end. But when I take a closer look at it, it's not a final product, but I will focus on the paragraphs that the student pointed out to me. You don't have to number the paragraphs. That's not part of MLA format, but if you would like to number the paragraphs for me, that's extra helpful, but I'm not going to require it. So again, you are turning in a complete research paper. It's just not all of the paragraphs are going to be in a final state.